So, good afternoon to everyone. As a regular practice of AP State Council of Higher Education, we are again onto the Talk the Book program, which is a weekly program introducing a new book to the students of Andhra Pradesh. Since the students of Andhra Pradesh are well occupied with their academic as well as extracurricular activities and also having a tech-savvy habits, not able to go with the regular classical books which are available both in Telugu as well as English. With the view of this background, by the observation of the Chairman, AP State Council of Higher Education, Professor K. Hemchandra Reddy garu, he has introduced this program about 1.5 years back during 2021 in April, running successfully for the last 97 episodes. This is the 98th episode of the Talk the Book program, the book review. So in this program today, we have with us Dr. Chandra Latha garu, who is going to review the 100 years old. To be clear, it is more than 100 years old. Walden and other writings by Henry David Thoreau. She is going to introduce this book for us with her expertise in her language, both Telugu as well as in English. Chandra Latha garu was a writer, an educationist, and a publisher, and she did her MA as well as PhD, MA during 1991, and then PhD from SV University from English department. Though she was, with her literary abilities and interest, both in Telugu as well as English, she is also recipient of some literary awards, both in India and abroad, for her books. Some of them are Regadi Vittulu, which was given in 1996. Then from the Thana, then recently she has written this book, Neelam Purasi. Besides this Telugu literary activity, she has completed her PhD from SV University in English department. So this indicates that interest in both Telugu as well as in English. She was basically, by her nature, both literary, interested in literary and other aspects. She is now the hospital administrator, taking care of the hospital of her husband. She has got many awards and rewards throughout her career in the literary universe. Then she is going to review the book of Henry David Thoreau of Walden and other writers. So now I leave it to Dr. Chandra Latha garu to introduce the book for our students. Thank you, madam.
And also, I read books, Bhaskar garu. Thanks for your introduction. Hello, everyone out there. Even though I can't see you, any one of you, I understand I'm addressing all of you who like to read books and hear about books and talk about books in this hot, sultry summer, early summer day afternoon. So thank you very much for having me and giving me this opportunity to talk to you, all of you. And thanks to the initiative of APSHE for this Talk the Book program, where otherwise students would have been confused with choosing the books. This is such a wonderful list of books that I can see. But when it came to my turn, I'm almost like the tail end to introduce the books. So I was a little confused. So which one to pick up? As I said, I am a kind of I read a lot. I read this, that, any book that comes into my hand. If I see wherever it is, if it's in the rack or in the system or in the phone, wherever I find a book, I just pick it up and read. So which book I think I should introduce him? I understand that I'm addressing students from different sections of college, like you're from science, humanities, commerce, economics, also engineering. And I also know that you're from computers and you are tutors of all the students and felicitators. So I was wondering which book is ideal on this hot, sultry summer afternoon, and also to meet all your interests. Is there any book, or is it a book that is only for literary students, or as Bhaskar Garu just mentioned, is it to be a very new book? Is it a contemporary book that I need to pick up? So all the questions and answers, I got only one book. I was wondering, the ideal book is going and sitting close to a pond, maybe close, just sitting under a tree bough and browsing lazily. And that book would be about the Walden and other writings. This is by Henry David Thoreau of Bantam's Classic. That's I'm going to talk about. So can I please share the screen, please? So the book we are talking today is Walden and Other Writings. Hope you can see the screen. This is a Talk the Book 98th episode. This book is written by Henry David Thoreau. When we are talking about the book, let me start reading it out, something for you. My books, faint cast off, I cannot read. Atwixt every page, my thoughts go stray at large. Down in the meadow, where is richer feet, and I will not mind to hit their proper touch. Here where I lie beneath this walnut bough, what care I have for the Greeks or for Triton? If juster battles are enacted now between the ants upon their hummocks crown. Tell Shakespeare to attend some leisure hour, for now I have business with this drop of dew.
You have to share it.
The clouds prepare for a shower. I will not meet him shortly when the sky is blue. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir.
You have to share it. It's not coming.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sir, is this happening?
Okay. Yes.
Sir, is it okay?
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Sorry for the interruption. The book we have been talking, and the picture is, you can see on the screen, is Walden and Other Writings by Henry David Thoreau. This is the 98th episode of Andhra Pradesh State Center for Higher Education, Council for Higher Education. The poem that I was reading out is from the banks of Walden Pond, and this is one of my favorite poems from Walden. So this is written by Thoreau. He says, "My books I would fain cast off, I cannot read. Between every page my thought goes stray at large, down in the meadow where is richer feet, and will not mind to hit proper touch. Tell Shakespeare to attend some leisure hour, for now I have business with this drop of dew. And see you not, the clouds prepare for a shower. I will meet him shortly when the sky is blue." This particular book I've been going to talk about has not only Walden, but it has some more chapters which talks about few more books of Thoreau included in this. A Week on the Concord and Merrimack Rivers, Civil Disobedience, Walden, Life Without Principle, Miney Woods, Cape Cod, The Journal. So this journal of Walden is written by Thoreau is in 12 volumes between 1821 and 1844. But this particular book has a sample of that just to introduce us. So why this simple book we are not going to talk about in this afternoon is it because it influenced, or is it because it is a book that read by not only me, you, and everyone, but it is read by eminent leaders and people who inspired us over the generations. Mr. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Leo Tolstoy, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, to the Dalai Lama, or if you have been watching OTT these days, Into the Wild, a picture, perhaps you might have seen that. So any camper, or it's a mountaineer, hikers, or the people who are going to the nature activists, politicians, and everyone had something to take from this small book. As I like given you a list of books within this book, but there is something for everyone. They have taken it. So what exactly Gandhi took from it? Gandhiji has written, the duty of civil disobedience, scientific confirmation of what I was doing in South Africa. That is what he has taken from this book. It is the essence of his political philosophy. We all know as Indians, because it's a satyagraha or civil disobedience that Gandhiji has helped Gandhiji to draft his theory and practice. He is inspired from this small book. So what is Martin Luther King has to take from it? What is Nelson Mandela? And what I can take from it, and what you can take from this. So here are some interesting quotes from Thoreau. So I learned this, at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet a success unexpected in common hours. Rather than love, than money, than fame, give me truth. It's to not change, we change. I had 3 chairs in my house, 1 for solitude, 2 for friendship, 3 for society. Simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. I say, let your affairs be as 2 or 3, and not 100 or 1,000. Instead of 1,000,000, count a half a dozen, and keep your accounts on your thumbnail. Does not keep pace with his companions. Perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. See, a sample of his a few quotes from Thoreau are so inspiring. Not only inspiring, they sound so familiar. It feels like we heard somewhere, we followed somewhere, we thought somewhere, perhaps we read somewhere, but we heard from somebody else's mouth. So when we hear about this, rather than love, than money, than fame, give me truth. It reminds me of experiments with truth. Things do not change, we change. So here is one of the important theories that we all think, like what exactly this man is doing. It has every sentence here we find is a quotation, but this entire book appears like written as if every sentence, right from the beginning sentence, looks like we feel like each sentence as a quote, and we feel like there's so much to think about. What did he do with this book? What did he write in this book? So how is this person could be like a person who has inspired so many great leaders, even the greatest authors like Leo Tolstoy, and greatest leaders like Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King? What could be a person like him be? How could he be? Can we know him like a person? Who is that man? Who is that person in this? Who is that human being? You may rely on that that you have the best of me in my books, and that I am not worth seeing personally. The stuttering, blundering, clodhopper that I am. This is what Thoreau said. If you want to know me through my books. I am not worth seeing personally. I am like anybody. I'm stuttering, I'm blundering, I'm clodhopper, I'm simple like you and me. Okay, but he could be something important, something that we try to know, even though Thoreau humbled himself, saying that is nothing as a person to know, but there's so much to know, because if we don't know him like a person, how will we know how he could inspire so many people over the generations, almost like 178 years to count the number. Henry David Thoreau was born like David Henry Thoreau, but he changed his name to Henry David Thoreau. Just he changed his middle and first names. He was born at Concord, Massachusetts, United States of America in July 12th, 1817, into a very, very humble family. And his father was a pencil maker. You know, we all use pencils in our schools. So he used to make pencils, handmade pencils, and sell them. So he was born into that family, a very humble family. He was, his introduction, we have to make it not happens in one word. He's an American naturalist, essayist, poet, philosopher, and transcendentalist. So what is all this? He humbles himself that I'm just my writing. Is it just his writing? What is that just writing? We have to find out in his own book. So he must have been something important. So he must be having something remarkable as well. How he has that kind of expression or the writing, because not only as literature students, as who could inspire so many leaders with his rhetoric, where he could have been, how he would have been trained for this. Because here we should understand a writing and writer, the relation between the writing and writer. M.M. Bakhtin gives a very interesting remark. Any writing, because he comments on the, while talking about novelistic narratives, he says that any novel is experience, knowledge, and vision of the novelist. So if we think about his experience, his knowledge, and vision of the writer here, that is Mr. Henry David Thoreau, let us first check with it, what kind of knowledge he acquired to become such an important person. So where was he? What did he study? With his humble backgrounds, he was into a humble school, but his family could afford him to send to Harvard. They pulled out all their funds. They tried their best to send him to Harvard School. Not only because of the funds, but because of his talent, he could get into that. And what did he study there? He studied rhetoric, classics, philosophy, mathematics, and science. So he had he's well acquainted with the classic literature and the modern literature and contemporary literature and philosophy. When we talk about philosophy, it's about the world in philosophy, and which was at that time was a fashion of learning, almost exploring. They had an opportunity to explore, which were coming like latest, like the Orientalist philosophy, so the Middle Eastern philosophy. So everything they could have the parallel one instead of the only Greek and Latin. They were able to study them, and also new thoughts that were emerging in their immediate neighborhood of New England, and mathematics and science. We can see the list of subjects that he studied are so different, and so interesting to see that there are humanities and there are science and maths and everything. And where is he graduating from? Which college? He graduated from Harvard. As I said, he's from a humble background, so he couldn't continue his studies. He has to take a break to meet needs of his family. In between that, he ran a school, a primary school in his own neighborhood, with his ideas that he was going to put later part of his life. And he tried to pull out some funds, and then he continued his studies. And he was such a student that he got an opportunity to give commencement speech. As you all know, as young graduate students, it's an honor to be chosen to give a speech at the graduation day. That's a commencement speech. Only very few will get the opportunity. That itself shows how talented and bright student Mr. Thoreau was. So he was young. He already tried to experiment what thoughts were just sprouting up in him. So what he was looking into, his philosophy, or what he put through later part of his life, have been expressed during his college commencement speech. So usually everything begins at a very tender age, maybe they may be seeded in. So let's just look at, when we are looking into the book deeper level. So let us see whether there are seeds in this commencement speech. Here is one quote, a couple of quotes from Harvard in Thoreau. This is like, there is Harvard in Thoreau because his exposure that he had is education there. So what did he speak during that commencement speech? The commercial spirit of the day, he said, rested on the love of wealth that made people selfish and greedy. The world would be a better place, he said, if people made riches the means, not the end of the existence. This curious world which we inhabit is more wonderful than it is convenient, more beautiful than it is useful. It is more to be admired and enjoyed than used. So this is these two quotes are from his commencement speech. He was just in his early 20s. So he graduated in colors, but he, with his humble background and all, everyone expected. Harvard, a graduate from Harvard, has openings as wide as today, because we all know it's one of the topmost schools in the world. So he would have easily got into law. The subjects he has studied. He has a very good career. So everyone will think that with his humble background, he will opt for the best job he can opt for. One of the best cream of the American graduates in that particular year would have got very good job. What did he do? He just went into woods. He just left all his offers and he just went to live by himself. So once again, when we see what he was saying, that you may rely on that. You have the best of me in my books that I am not worth seeing personally. The stuttering, blundering, clodhopper that I am. So he likes to be simple, humble, how he began. And he is not a simple man. As I mentioned earlier, as Bakhtin has said, a good writer or good novelist also reflects his knowledge, his experience, and his vision in his writing. So now we got an introduction or a glimpse of what knowledge Thoreau is like. It's like he's equipped with a thorough knowledge about literature, classics, philosophy, science, maths, and everything. And he is now out into woods. So we have just talked about how Mahatma Gandhi onwards to the Nelson Mandela, to leaders, and as I said, simple like backpackers or hikers, or just like any social activists or people who are looking, contemporary ecologists, environmentalists, natural historians. So he inspired so many people. But what exactly the inspiration of Thoreau? He is influenced by transcendentalism and Orientalism. So Orientalism is nothing but, perhaps you might have already been studying if you're a philosophy student or someone, or into literature or languages, but science students, Orientalism is all the Eastern countries that we are in, basically from Chinese, Japanese, and India. So he has been exposed to Hindu philosophy, and Buddhism, Confucianism. He often quotes from Hindu, Confucianism, and also Buddhism. It appears like mostly like the Lotus Sutra of Buddha kind of inspired him. And then comes the Hinduism, where we go into the forest to seek our own jnana, tapas, and all that. So he has various kind of exposure from Orientalism and their thought process and practices to know themselves. We all know this one because if you are aware of that, Kyoham, who am I? To search for self. It's kind of a self-reliance, self-exploration. And what is this transcendentalism of American transcendentalism? What is to do with the Orientalism? So how it is different? Are they both together? And how Thoreau found a middle path is what is the exploration of the book Walden. So this is a movement of writers and philosophers in New England who were loosely bound together by adherence to an idealistic system of thought based on a belief in essential utility of all creation, the innate goodness of humanity, supremacy of insight over logic, experience for the elevation of the deepest truths. That is what Britannica explains. So in one sense, it's kind of appears to be very idealistic, and it's looking, it's kind of a reflection to the materialism and the kind of industrialization that's happening at that time in the parts of New England. So who were one of the important pioneers of this philosophy? Ralph Waldo Emerson is his mentor, and he was the one who inspired Walden to experience the experience for the revelation of the deep truths. So he tried to do the experiment. It is on the property of Mr. Emerson that not only his philosophy, his thought, and his ideals, that the inspiration that he carried, but he decided to experience the kind of a feeling of deepest truth. And he went to the banks of Walden Pond. He built himself a small cabin. He started living there, and he started noting down his experiences of self-revelation or self-realization to find out the deepest truths that he was trying around. And he was just 28 when he started this. And this New England, where Thoreau was born, and he did his graduation, and he was inspired by his present America. Even if you are aware of United States of America, geography of that, it's a northeastern part of United States. It's 6 states of Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, and New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont, and it's west of New York City. So he went to woods. So why he went to woods? And he starts Walden as a book with the sentence, I went to the woods because I wish to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of the life and see if I could learn what it had to teach, and not when I came to die discover that I had not lived. So he went to woods to explore himself and see what it is going to teach him, what the nature is going to teach him. And he should not repent that he did not live this life. So this is the beautiful site of Walden on your screen. And this quote is from Thoreau. We can never have enough of nature. Live in each season as it passes. Breathe the air, drink the drink, taste the fruit, and resign yourself to the influence of the earth. This is a beautiful pond of beautiful sight of fall over colors of fall in the Walden Pond. And this is a small cabin through winter, 2 different seasons, like it's rainy, winter, and spring, a small cabin that This is actually a replica of what Walden has built to the memorial place. So this is a small cabin Walden built, and he started living with he has, as he put it in the same way, it is the place that he built with his own hands. This is a small cabin he built with his own hands, and he started living there. And he was raising food and also the other needs, like whatever other needs he was earning by himself. And he has a small bean field, and he has wood and other. He was basket weaving, and he was trying to sell in the local market and raising small money. And he was living kind of a humble life, and he was noting it down. This happened almost for 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, as poetic as it seems. So what he was trying to explore is, what is the skill that he has? He said, for my greatest skill has been to want but little. So he was trying to simplify and live happily. So how much a person really needs to live happily, what all we need, how much space we need, how much money we need, how much food we need, how much everything. This thing. So he was trying to find out what is that makes me happy, with what is the bare minimum to live happy. So Walden is viewed not only as a philosophical treatise on labor, leisure, self-reliance, and individualism, but also an influential piece of nature writing. It is considered Thoreau's masterpiece. So this is one of the reviews of what Walden is for everyone. So his experience of living in this small cabin over 2 years, 2 months, and 2 days, he has put it down, and he was what it is all about. It's kind of a romantic escapade or a nature holiday, or we like to go to now and then we like to go to hill station or go to Himalayas or just have fun and come back. Is that what Walden was doing there? So what he did, and how does it inspire people over the generations? Because it was just going and staying there. Is that what Walden is trying to do? No, in fact, Walden was doing the same thing, but in a different way. He was trying to explore every small thing that was going around him, and he was trying to understand the deepest question, as the deeper experience of what's happening, what sounds he hears, what the climate that's going to happen, what food is able to produce, what is going to happen. So the first episode of among the 18 essays that he has written about Walden experience, the first one is about economics, how much he need to, how he would able to raise his own funds and become self-reliant to build his small cabin, and how he did his daily going on, and how he did it, and how much, he gave the accounts of it. So it is for economics and commerce of daily life. So it's a kind of a happy living experiment. So this Walden Pond is in the Concord. Because he mentions it like a village, Concord Village. Now it's a big city. So, but it's in the middle of Walden Woods. It's a thing that's totally the thick forest. And he lived there from 1845 to 47, 2 years time. And when he came back, he took, the first book he wrote was about this, he was trying to write about that book. So here is one drawing by his sister, who has, she might have visited there, and she has seen it. Based on this, the replica was made now at the memorial. But this is how, when Walden was lived, this is the drawing, and it was included as a cover page for the first book ever published in 1854. So what exactly made Thoreau to choose that place is not just it's Emerson's property, but there is another important reason. It was New England is a place where it is a place of activists who are working for abolition of slavery. So those who are enslaved, abandoned to their freedom, scattered in Walden Woods. So one such amazing lady was Jilpha White. And she lived for 82 years happily, all alone on her own in woods. So how she was living. So he mentions about his experience and his inspiration to choose that place, and who were former inhabitants of Walden Pond and his small cabin. And also there were winter visitors who were coming in from Canada for as woodcutters and all that. So he was talking to people and he was noting down and what's happening there. It's almost like kind of a social experiment, and I mean, it was exploration of various things. And in parallel to the highways they were building, there were train routes were building, that there was kind of a whole industry buzzing out and blooming towns. Like we can see that over these 170 years, Concord now is not a village, but it's a huge big city. And entire New England is the heart of industrial heartbeat of America. So this is how he thinks with the simple people who are living happily with the humble resources that they have. They realize when they raise themselves. So this kind of a observation he made. So the place he has chosen is important because they were all slaves who were they were given freedom, but they were not ready to go back, and plus they wanted to stay in the same places. So they choose to live in woods, like abandoned to their freedom because they were left to their freedom. So they sat down there. They were living their humble living, like Jilpa White has done. So with just with small things like basket weaving and the bean patches or something. So he was learning those skills of survival, those skills of living happily from, and he noted them everything from day to day observations. So if that was the case, like going to the nature is a kind of an escapade and doing some social learning. So we would be, Thoreau would have been another nature lover or something, but Thoreau stands up for something else. So while he was living in Walden, he has come up with this important political theory of civil disobedience. So the idea of having no government at all was quite popular, quite modern then, anarchy. And also Thoreau also believed in a good governance is a governance where there's a little interference with its citizens. So Thoreau, while he was living at Walden Pond, he was denied to pay poll tax. Poll tax is a tax collector for the conducting elections in that particular reason. But why he denied? Because the system or whatever political parties that were coming up were encouraging slavery. So any kind of a government that encourages slavery, he was not going to support that. So he denied to pay the poll tax, which was very, very nominal, minimal, like if I could say. In those days of currency also, it was very minimum thing, but he denied. He said that he has freedom to express his opinion by not paying tax. So this is the political idea that has been, if you can now guess it, that's what is our Sahaya Nirakarana of Satyagraha movement. So this is one of the important political practice that is carried in the 20th century, whether it was Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela later. So Mahatma Gandhi is the first most successfully used this as a weapon. Sahaya Nirakarana, which is a civil disobedience, and Satyagraha is a anger, true anger. So it's a kind of that came out of his philosophical thought. So what exactly he thought about it. But to speak practically and as a citizen, unlike those who call themselves no government men, I ask for not at once no government, but at once a better government. So the better government he's dreaming is a government that won't support slavery, but it abolishes slavery. And he was a strong activist of women suffrage, because for women to vote. And there are many issues that were contemporary social issues. Even though he was just going away from the society and living in some small cabin, he was part of the entire society. He was never been away from it. So this kind of a thing, living, knowing yourself, as self-realization, and knowing about the society yourself, it makes more clarity. So what I am going to support. So he stood by his thing. So he's the first person to do it like, I'm not going to pay this full tax unless until the government will, to the government that supports slavery. So this is the kind of, this is how we can, has a freedom to express my choice, take the choice to express as a citizen. So my choice of and the policy. That's what one of the things that Thoreau has done, and he stood by it. And he was arrested and he was sent to jail. So, and he wrote it down into an essay. So this was the most inspiring document that over this 178 years, it's been one of the important documents, and that has been carried from different countries to leaders, and inspired many intellectuals and leaders and political leaders. So, simply speaking, why Walden now? So when we go back and think about it, young students, whether it is young men or young ladies who are all undergrads. So he was also a student like you and me. So he was into the college, very enthusiastically ready to learn. So he was humble. He couldn't afford his college, but he says that he was never disappointed. He took a break and he tried to run a school along with his brother. Unfortunately, brother died of tetanus. It was very shocking to know, because when we look at it 178 years ago, his brother, while shaving, that he got infected with tetanus and he passed away. So he has to close the school, and he decided to continue the education. And after he completed his education, he didn't took like any fancy job that was offered. Like right now, we hear a lot about college students getting campus selections and getting higher paid jobs and changing life-changing salaries and all stuff. Even he had that opportunity, but he chose to do differently, and he chose to withdraw from the regular practice of the students. And because he was also like trying to explore the question, kyo hum. So what the self-realization, and also he was looking at what as a person, like as he said in the very first opening of it, I should not, as he says, sorry. In the very beginning, he says why he went to the woods. He has the answer to everything. Like he says that he came to woods not to, because discovered that I had not lived. When I came to die, I discovered that I had not lived. He wanted to experience that what exactly is like life. So that is how it's just about the romanticizing the nature, living, like going into the nature and loving and all that. So what he was exactly doing. So why didn't he continue living in that small hut and to continue so beautiful environment, beautiful thing, something just having the, how can we just imagine that's so beautiful. Why didn't he come back to this, if you say that the industrialization or the buzz of the societies in the materialistic world, why did he return? So he was never been negative about that. He was always been the science that's going up. But what is he trying to think? Wherever he's been working on, he was looking at the human angle of that, what exactly we need as persons. So however crazy it is, however lazy our schedule is, however this thing is, just this Walden in all of us. Just withdraw a minute, get into the Walden and explore yourself, get the self-realization, what exactly you want. What exactly you want? Or is that because as Walden said, he wanted to go to woods. It's not everything like everybody wants to go to woods. It's not like that. What exactly you want? So when you exactly want something, he says that he said it's as an experiment. So like I learned this at least by my experiment that one advances confidently the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined. So a life that you have to imagine and meet the success unexpected calmer hours. So it is very unexpected times you will meet the success. So what kind of success it is? Is it a material success that you are looking for? Is it a immaterial, or is it about yourself or about the people, everyone around? So this is all about this, so many questions. So he's trying to be a truth seeker. He's trying to see what is exactly going to happen. So when this question was put, you're isolated, you are living in a small cabin, and is that all you want? Or you want living, withdrawing from running away from people, because after all, human being is a social being. No, he says, I had 3 chairs in my house, 1 for solitude, 2 for friendship, and 3 for society. So here we can see that everywhere that he was talking about, every sentence he was talking about, he was trying to understand how better a human being can live, and how he was just not like giving it like vague thoughts, but his experience. As I said, earlier I mentioned Mr. M.M. Bakhtin's, it's knowledge that he acquired while experimenting, by knowing his nature. He says that with understanding nature around me, I understand nature in me. So my own nature, I was trying to understand by trying to understand nature around me. So this is what made him to stand for against for slavery. And he was standing with the women's suffrage. He was standing with the issues that were happening immediate to him. And he was also backing up many intellectual movements that were going on that day without any hesitation. As I said, he wants just the truth. He just give me the truth. I'm going to stand by the truth. So this truth is very relative, as we all know. So how will we know? As I said earlier, so however crazy our schedules are, however lazy we are, just stand back and we just stop there and explore the Walden within us. So that quietness, that solitude gives us, opens up the room for friendship and room for society. So his exploration after Walden, what he did after Walden, he did amazing experiment of living in a small hut for 2 years, and he noted it down. He noted all the point. And what did he do after that? He was exploring, giving talks, and trying to understand himself more and more. Trying to explore the it's kind of a thought. And he was so much inspired by Origin of Species of Darwin, and he was exploring the natural history. So he was going around now his studies have become very important for natural historians, biologists, and ecologists and environmentalists. So if we talk about the contemporary movements, why now means the contemporary movements of environmentalism or minimalism, and we take about anything for any given period of time, there's something to Walden has offered. There's something that Walden is ready to offer you. So not only that thought, not only that experience, and that's the vision of this book. So as Bakhtin said, the best book that survived over this 178 years is his knowledge, is a combination of his knowledge and the experience of each thought that he was putting in. So he was thinking about simplifying. He simplified his life, his thought, and also his expression. As I said, it's interesting for economic students for the study that he has done. And it's also interesting for interesting for mathematicians, because the math that has given the statistics and all, for commerce, because he has written the accounts of daily life and to the trade that can be happen and everything. He maintained a small account, and he for the builders, he built his own small cabin, and how to make that accounts and everything, and how to procure the material, how to make it, and the marketing, business, tactics, and politics and whatnot. And then what about literature? So because when we are talking about a book, it's a book is as a language or literature and a thing. So he's a deep student of languages and literature. Is Greek, Latin, and he read all classics. And as I said, not only philosophy, but what amazing thing that happens is, after he wrote notes for 20 volumes, like millions of words, for over this 21 years. All that he put is into 18 essays. So if brevity is the secret of this sentence. So here, let's say, for a literature students, so we can really amazing. There's so much to learn from him. So in one essay, we can see so many quotes, so many people, how many books he read. So because one book opens up so many books, so many thoughts, so many ideas. So that could be Walden. So it's not like something that we need a lot of time to read, a lot of time to think about, to talk about. So we were wondering if this person could be thinking about sitting under some walnut bough and thinking about today's minimalism, today's environmentalism, and today's world. How could he think about it? No, he was not thinking about us. He was thinking about his own time. So he says, I was born in right times, the nick of the time, nick of flowering New England. So it was the same thing. Like, it was always positivity. So the positivity that he carries throughout it with his humble living, humble resources that he has, but how is he looking into the nature that has provided him, make him so rich of feeling, so fulfilled and success and everything that the nature has given him. So in a way, like Walden gives us one more time the possibilities, what we consider as failures or a kind of despair or everything. So there's always a positive opening that we can see. So we see, as I said, brevity is the soul of it, says Shakespeare. So this in this brief written sentences. So this is a book for everyone, book for everybody. Like if you are a student of commerce, you have a reason to read it. If you are a student of history, you have a reason to read it. And if you're a literature student, you have to better explore that. Because just now we found in a small poem that he has written, he actually says, Shakespeare, please wait. There is so much to read, not from Shakespeare. Before Shakespeare, I have so much to read from the nature around me. So he's a sociologist, he's an anthropologist, he's a kind of a political scientist, and he's environmentalist. So when we look into this book, we have, every period has, everybody has something to look into. So as I know, when I'm talking about this book, some of you might be already very much aware of this book, because many schools have listed this one, senior schools, as a part of their book. And Americans call this as a book. Means this is the book of American thought process, and they respect that. So now we are into like 178th year of Walden. So as I said, it's a time for us to explore the middle path that he arrived on his own, like somewhere from the New England shores to the Orientalism, to the Middle Eastern, to the West European. So how he arrived his own exploration. So where he gives that he's not giving any kind of a formula or something kind of a solution for us to follow, but he inspires us that this is how anyone can do this. So this is, I went to woods, but anyone can explore their own way, their own path. They can arrive to the truth. I think it's the simplicity that makes us to speak. And I think, and this is now that we should speak about Walden once again. So many of you here are as explorers of truth, as explorers of success, as explorers of time. This is the time to pick up and explore this book. It's available everywhere, and Google has multiple versions of the book. Please put your hand on this, and sometimes, somewhere, whenever you are in, like, you have so much to learn about. And once again, thank you very much, Bhaskar Garu, for inviting me, and thanks to Hemchandra Reddy Garu, who initiated this entire book talk program, so that I could able to talk to the book I love. I mean, one of the books that I got inspired. And thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Because I think this is one of the oldest book that has been reviewed in this present YouTube. I feel it is so. Thanks for presenting in a beautiful manner. thank you on behalf of AP State Council of Higher Education for introducing a good book with these components of both philosophical as well as literary and other aspects of the life. Because this book has influenced many great personalities. So thank you for giving a glimpse of this book to our students. Thank you on behalf of State Council.
Thank you very much.